What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we are at the first ever Fleet Week Miami here at PortMiami. And today we have a special media tour of USS Normandy. This is a guided missile cruiser that was commissioned on December 9th, 1989. It is obviously named after the Battle of Normandy of World War II. It's got a host of different launchers on board. There's the Mk-41 vertical launch system that's capable of rapid fire launching. It's got two 5-inch lightweight guns on the front and the back, and a variety of radars throughout the ship. I am so excited. So now let's go ahead and meet with our point of contact and get on board USS Normandy.
I'm Senior Chief Petty Officer Whitner. Been on board Normandy since 2020. Been in the Navy for 14 years. Been all over the world. Started tour out on the USS Chancellorsville on the West Coast in San Diego. Home port shifted her over to Yokosuka, Japan. Did my tour up there. Went up to, I got stationed up in Washington State for a little bit, and then went back to San Diego. Now I'm in Norfolk, Virginia. This is my first time on the East Coast, so it's been a pleasure. I've been here 4 years. So I oversee sonar operations, whether it be surface ships or submarines. So maintaining the acoustics, searches, or anything like that. Anything that deals with anything below the water line, and really anything that's setting on the water line. Everybody thinks because I'm a sonar tech, they automatically go to submarines. That is not just my job. My job is to maintain the acoustic awareness of the environment, and what I mean by that is how the water plays with sound. And so how can I exploit and be able to see things around me that if you walk out here on the weather decks or radar, I wouldn't typically be able to see, right? Everything can be all right on the top of the surface, but you never know what's below the surface. So my job is to inform my sonar team and everybody else on the ship, maintain all that situational awareness. Back aft, so what you're looking at, right? So we don't have them on board currently, but this is where the Harpoon surface missiles really are. All right, so that's what we usually have armament on board. Currently do not have them for display at this current moment. Right here is the what we call 5-inch gun. It's a 6.2 caliber. So it's a very large. We got two of them on board, one forward, one aft, vice the destroyers, which just have the one forward. There's nothing too crazy. It's about well over 10 nautical miles as far as the range and what we can do with those. There's different types of rounds and all this other stuff that we can actually send down range depending on the mission that we have in hand. So we actually have to fire these fairly often, maintain operability, make sure that we can fight the fight. You'll see a couple of different, these are 50 caliber guns. We have those, you'll see one over there as well on the starboard side. And when we walk up forward, you'll see the same mounts, right? There's also, so you'll see M240s as well, midships. And then as we walk upstairs, so we got a port and starboard 25 millimeter cannons, right? So these can be local fired. There's actually an attachment that goes on. It's like a shoulder harness almost, like the gunner steps into, can look down and sight in and fire. There's also remote fired up in the bridge. These are usually for small craft, right? So there's different guns that we have depending on the ranges and all this other stuff that we might be facing. So you got the small caliber weapons or smaller caliber weapons, right? So, and then you got 25 mics. You'll see when we go around, you'll see where the Sea Whiz mounts and show you what those look like. But this right here is pretty much the backbone of what a cruiser is. So right here is the VLS system. Well, the launchers anyway. So overall, this is where all your missiles, anything are launched from. So what makes us different from a destroyer, we have a full VLS system forward and aft, vice what the destroyers have. Anything that's a missile that we have able to arm on the ship, we can fire from here. So minus Harpoon. So Harpoon's a different animal, different beast. So anything else will be fired from here, including torpedoes. We can fire the vertical launch ASROC or ASW rocket. That's about the only thing that isn't a guided missile type. So we're a CG guided missile cruiser. So this is what makes breaks. Our primary mission is air defense for the carrier or whatever HVU, high value unit that we're guarding. We actually guide those via our Aegis weapon system into the target. There's very little when it comes to the heat seeking like you would typically see on movies and all this other stuff. So that it's a little bit different. We have a lot more technology that we don't have to deal with the heat-seeking type missiles. I will say this guy right here. This is where we actually load. If you look at the side of the ship, so one of the mission warfare areas. I'm a sonar chief, right? Sonar senior chief. So there's two torp doors on the side. That makes us different from the destroyers. The destroyers, you can actually see the mounts there on the weather decks. Our torp doors actually pop open, and those mounts auto train. And so when those mounts auto train, I can fire torpedoes out the side. You don't see that, but right here's how we put the torpedoes up there and we load them through this hatch, and then that's how that whole operation works. If you're standing on this deck, this is you're gonna have a bad day standing here, especially if you've ever seen videos or of them launching anything. This whole thing becomes a lot of toxic smoke. A lot of fire. You're talking about a rocket engine, right? So typically, when we're deployed, we'll have a helo dead on board, right? So we'll have helo hangars in the helo hangar, and then obviously we got the flight deck. We have a RAS system, so if you see the two tracks, there's two different ones because we can store two different helos, or two helos at the same time. So when they land, they have a little foot on the bottom of the helicopter because the ship does rock and whatnot, and they'll actually put, it's not open right now, but there's a little box, a cutout box in there. They'll put the foot in there, and then that's how we actually transit the aircraft without it being powered to the helo hangar from the flight line. If you look up, you can see the Spy 1 radar. So that little octa...
The white?
Yeah, the white.
Radar?
Yep, that's your primary air search radar. You got some of the lights, right? So as a helicopter is landing, anything in the Navy is not easy. So as a helicopter is coming in to land, the deck is rolling and pitching. So we actually have a horizontal guidance system. So that will stay level. So as it's lit up, the ship will roll, but it'll give the pilots a cue of, hey, that way they're not following the ship. Over to the left, anything that's that color, purple, right? So it's JP5, so that's aircraft fuel. So we do all the pretty much self-sufficient when it comes to helo operations, doing anything, refueling. We don't have to go anywhere. If we're out by ourselves, we'll do everything. We just got deck redone, so that's that. But deployment was a rough time for the deck back here.
How long was the deployment for?
We just got back from an 8.5-month deployment attached to the Gerald R. Ford Strike Group. So
Mediterranean.
Yep, in the Med. Yeah. So we did that one. And came back ready to go. Yeah, do whatever we got to do, and then ready to fight the fight. So as you can see, if you actually look, I don't know if you want to give them a kind of a eye shot of exactly what it would look like. We can't go in there, but it's pretty much eye level of the deck, right? So he or she is down there, and they're looking, making sure they're clear, making sure the deck is safe, personnel, and all the other good stuff. Once when the helo comes down, they'll have chalk and chain. Every helicopter that comes on board has to be strapped, so we can do that fairly quickly, just on and off. We do like to have barbecues and stuff. We call them still beach picnics on board, mainly because still, the ship is still, right? So still beach picnics are a thing. This one's been through a deployment, so this was brand new. But you can see what seawater does. Usually it's put in a safe place, but this is even when it's covered. But we got wind, sea spray, all the other things that come through. These guys right here are lifeboats, right? So these can be deployed. We can pull some lines and actually throw them over the side. That's why if you look at outside, you don't really see a lot of lifeboats. And usually that's a question I get is, how do you guys, where are they and all this other stuff. So these are the guys. If the ship were to go down, there's a hydrostatic line which pops at a certain depth, and it'll come up, and we can all still have a lifeboat even though the ship went down, or whatever the case may be. These guys right here are, there's one port, or one starboard, one port. These are what we call ribs, rigid hull inflatable boats. So all this is if we need to do, say we do a man overboard, and we want to do a small boat recovery, and we don't want to maneuver the ship as much, we can launch this. We can also launch it for packs, transfers, anything that we need. So you'll see that it's secured right now, right? So that's why I feel safe being under it. I trust my crew. I trust everybody on board. There's a winch that's up there, and all it does is it comes out, it takes the whole deck, not the whole deck division, but a lot of the deck division, to actually maintain the safety to put that out to sea. Yeah, you can see them, like I said, once when you're outside, take a look at the pier, or take a look at the ship from the pier, and you'll see that you'll spot the lifeboats a lot more. They're kind of incognito a little bit. But before I get in the sun again, I will talk about something that we do underway, is underway replenishments, or we call them RASs, or unrep. So, or replenishment at sea is what RAS stands for. So we'll have the supply ships come up, right? What you're looking at behind you, behind this big Vanguard blanket here, that's actually where we connect with the other ship, the supply ship, and there will be a big cable that attaches to it. We'll actually send pretty much pallets over from the supply ship over to the ship. We'll have the entire crew, it takes the entire crew to make sure all of our supplies get to where they need to go down the reefer decks. It's M240, so you can see we're very well prepared for anything that we need to man up for. Yeah, so if we were to pull into a port, or say we anchor out, or whatever the case, we'll drop this ladder. This actually will go down, it attaches to the ship, right, swings out. We'll actually enter and exit over here, and then go down to the floating barge that we have to exit the ship. So this is where one of the fueling stations is. I can't get the tarp, but behind that, all it is a big probe receipt. So it's just a big metal cone in which a fuel probe comes across. So the guys will also pull that. There'll be different, if you see on the deck, there's different attachments that are covered up right now, but different line attachments in which you'll have a whole team sitting here hand over hand pulling line until that fuel probe gets seated. They have to manually seat that with the power of actually pulling a line. So when it takes a little bit of force, usually an experienced crew will do it fairly quickly, and they'll get it done right the first time. Cruisers can be a little bit top heavy, so like up there in the pilot house, you rock a little bit more. You just got to have you build the tolerance to it.
I think I can do it.
But you see up forward, we have the 50 cal mounts. We got the up and overs right now for ceremonial purposes. So if you walk up, you can actually see the anchor chain. I don't know if you were expecting a bigger chain or a smaller chain, but this is what we got. So this is a pretty crazy evolution when it does happen. When we get the anchor out and we drop the anchor, is really loud. You definitely hear it usually throughout the first half of the ship.
What does the crew do to pass time usually?
Well, nowadays it's a lot of video games. So they usually, there's some that they'll set on the mess deck. So some of us older guys, I'm not exactly old, but I'm just in between. But play cards, dominoes, stuff that we can pick up and go really quick, not get too sucked in. I'm a senior chief, so my day is a little bit different from maybe the rest of the crew. So it's always being alert, always knowing what's going on. If I get sucked into a video game, I just don't personally like it. I like knowing what's happening around me at all times. So, listening to the 1MC, making sure all of the junior sailors are where they're supposed to be on time and in proper uniform and all the other good stuff, right? So, yeah, if you look up, you see the blue. So there's some ships that have the blue ring up there.
Right.
Yeah. So that's we call it blue nose. So this ship has been to the Arctic. We did our blue nose ceremony. This last deployment. We also did it on the previous deployment, and so you'll go up there, do the ceremony, you come back, you get the blue nose. Is I've been in the Navy 14 years. And sometimes when you're walking into like your work, right, you're walking up and you realize some people go to office buildings, some people go to wherever their place of work is, right? When you walk up to, you come into on the pier and you realize that you're in charge of something on this warship, is a pride thing. It's something bigger than you, type that. If we get called to do something, not only is the ship crew, the CEO, everybody's relying on me to execute the mission properly, but also, the United States in general is hoping that I execute that properly as well, right? So it's always a big thing, but with any job, there's ups and downs. It's really what you make it. So whenever you're coming into work and you have those, you just sometimes have to take a breath, look at what your office building looks like, and then just think about that you're somebody on that. Regardless if you're the seaman recruit that just checked in, or you're the 06, or the captain. Everybody plays a part in this, and we can't do it just single-handedly. So everybody should have a lot of pride coming into work and being able to execute whatever it is and work together. Trying to get everybody to do that can be a handful, a lot of training, a lot of everything that gets put into making sure that we execute properly. Because someday I'm going to retire, and I hope that somebody will have the same amount of passion and knowledge and take as much pride as I do in my job. Same type of ladder, but a little bit different. You'll see different configurations based on where we're at. There's a different type of medical, like the stretchers. Those are stretchers, just kind of give you a little, everything's kind of hidden in place. If you walk by it, you probably won't even notice it. Like, it's just is what it is, and that's what. We only have so many feet of storage, and we have to take opportunity to what we got. A little bit different, same boat, same type of boat. Still a rib, just on the port side. Same thing as far as the RAS station. We still have a little paint punts. We still have to get out and paint the ship. So we still use flat bottom, little flat bottom boats. It's all oared and there's no outboards.
What do you guys eat on board? How's the food?
Typically on board, there's different types of, we'll say, shipboard cuisines, right? So pork adobo, we call it, there's hamsters, which is cordon bleu, right? We call them hamsters. Yeah, so that's on the deck plates you'll hear hamsters, burgers. So we have Taco Tuesdays, your burgers, hot dogs, just your typical food. A lot of times they'll be served with always a good balance of everything. Vegetables, rice is usually included somewhere in there, and then obviously we got enough water to go around because we make our own. So
all right, we are back at my car. That was such a cool experience. He was so passionate about the work he does, and that's something that stood out to me. I just kind of sat there and listened, and the passion he showed towards his work, towards his crewmates, towards the mission, the goal of the Navy. It stood out, and I'm sure you guys noticed it too. So yeah, this is just one ship of several that are here for Fleet Week Miami, the first ever Fleet Week Miami. I don't know if it'll come back next year or the year after. It has been at Port Everglades, Fort Lauderdale for the past several decades. This is the first time they've brought it here to Miami. But if I had to guess, I would say yes, it's coming back to Miami next year, but we don't know. Every tour has been sold out really quickly. The public tours, I believe they have space for like 20 or 30. So if you're seeing this video, it is too late. But good thing is there's Fleet Week every year, whether it's in Port Everglades or here in Miami. It's an event that I highly recommend. I recommended it last year, and I'm gonna recommend it again this year because one, it's free. Two, gives you an opportunity to tour military ships that you wouldn't otherwise be able to unless you obviously enlist. And then you can also, if you're on the fence about joining a particular branch, either Navy or Marines, then this will be an opportunity to come and ask the people who are working every day in uniform whatever questions you might have, whatever doubts you may have, and they'll be able to answer it for you. And I promise you, they're all happy to be here, happy to answer questions, and happy to talk about the work that they do every day. And I'm also happy that they're here because it gives them a chance to go enjoy Miami. The person that gave us a tour, this was his first time in Miami. I told him, welcome to Miami, enjoy it. It's a good time to outside of the tours to kind of unwind and see the beautiful city we have here in Miami, the beautiful types of cuisines, food, the whole vibe. It's just amazing. And hopefully he took my advice and we'll go have some relaxing time in Miami. But with that said, signing off from Port Miami. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, if you learned something new, if you were in service, if you ever served on USS Normandy. It's just something I'm going to start asking at the end of these ship tour videos, because last year I got comments from people who served on the ships that I was on. And it was so cool to hear you guys post the years that you served and details about the ship as well. Anyway, hit the like button if you enjoyed. Helps the algorithm push this video out to other people. Thank you so much to the Navy for always being accommodating and welcoming back my second year of Fleet Week. I am so grateful. Hopefully next year they'll invite me back again. But with that said, subscribe and I'll catch you in the next video.